Oh, okay, yeah. There it is. Welcome to another episode of the NerdSwag Nerd Chat. I'm very excited today to introduce two guests that will be joining me to talk about some really fun, nerdy stuff. We're going to be talking about Spider-Man in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We're going to be talking about Aquaman. We're going to be talking about the moon Europa and NASA's plans on getting there. We're going to be talking about bullet trains, self-driving cars, and whatever else comes up. Just for viewers, if you're watching, we do have the Q&A open on the Google Plus Hangout. If you're watching on YouTube, you can leave a question or comment, and I will get to those in between segments. So the first person I want to introduce is the superhero enthusiast himself. You can find him on Twitter at Hero Enthusiast, and his YouTube channel is called Superhero Enthusiast. He does some awesome reviews, and I'll let him introduce some things that he does. So, Enthusiast, say hello to the people.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Whoa. That was very loud clapping. Yeah.
Yeah. Not popular. I do at the moment mostly just kind of podcast stuff. I have the main Superhero Enthusiast podcast where we occasionally do comics and we'll do new movies that come out. I've also got a monthly show, Animation Conversation, which covers superheroes and animation. And there's a new episode of that coming out, I guess this Saturday on the 90s Silver Surfer animated series. So that'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, that sounds super cool. I'm excited. So make sure everyone go subscribe to his YouTube channel. His YouTube channel, the link will be down below in the description after we're done. And another panelist is Alex. Alex, you've joined us before. Why don't you introduce yourself to the people?
Hello, my name's Alex.
Hello.
Thank you. I write for NerdSwag. I used to work with Steven a while back with a really cool company called Zoomies. Right now, I'm a gaming enthusiast. I write about games. I do a lot of research for them, and I work for a Turtle Beach, so I get to go to all the press releases and cool stuff like that.
Yeah, awesome. Cool. Thanks for the introduction. We're going to talk about a very, I would say a mainstream topic right now. A lot of people are discussing, but I'd like to get your guys' thoughts on it. So we're about a few weeks late, which I'm actually happy we are because some new news might have surfaced, some rumors, stuff like that, but Spider-Man is going to join the Marvel Cinematic Universe. First off, I want to talk about how excited we are for that to happen, and then we're going to talk about if we think it should be Peter Parker or not. So when you heard this news, Enthusiast, what was your first thought?
Finally. I mean, we'd known that they had been working out some sort of, deal with Sony and Marvel for a while. But it finally came to fruition, and it was kind of interesting because it seemed as if for a while there, things were going to fall through, and it might not happen. And then just kind of out of nowhere one day, oh no, it is happening. So great news, because clearly Sony hasn't really been able to get it done.
Yeah, they did. They announced they were going to do the Spider-Man Summit, but it was like, are they really going to do a Spider-Man Summit? Okay, Alex, what did you think when you first heard about Spider-Man legitimately joining the MCU?
First, I never thought it was going to happen. I'd never thought the two giant conglomerates would ever come together, but I'm extremely excited to see Spider-Man going back home, where hopefully he gets the treatment he deserves.
All right, so I guess I can talk. I was super pumped. Spider-Man as a kid was like the hero I looked up to. He was the one superhero I drew the most because I loved drawing as a child. He was my favorite, so I'm stoked that he could be done right. I am a guy that liked the Amazing Spider-Man more than most people, but I am excited he joined. Of course, the first thing everyone talks about is, will he be Peter Parker? Yes or no? And will he be a Caucasian white Peter Parker? I'm going to jump back to you, Alex. What are your initial thoughts on if it should be Peter Parker in the MCU?
So I guess that's just a hairy topic because we've seen Peter Parker in 5 movies now, and the last thing we want is another origin story. I'm sorry, I don't need to see with great power comes great responsibility again. And how many ways can you twist that for Peter Parker? So I as much as I don't want him to come back, I think he needs to appear for one movie, maybe get the conclusion he deserves, and I mean, I've said this before on your shows. The quicker we can get to Miles Morales, the happier I'll be.
Okay, so Enthusiast, do you think it would be good to start with Peter Parker and then maybe switch to a different Spider-Man, or should we just go non-Peter Parker from the start?
It's a good question. I can be happy with either. I guess the perspective I'm coming from is I don't feel like we've gotten, despite having 5 movies, a definitive Spider-Man movie with Peter Parker. So even if it only takes one and then we can move on to Miles, I would be happy with that compromise.
Yeah, people seem to be very adamant about wanting or not wanting Peter Parker. It seems to be the popular opinion is that going Miles Morales is the better choice. I personally don't mind seeing Peter Parker again. I agree with both you guys that I don't feel like his character's really been fleshed out all the way, and they've gotten him like close. Amazing Spider-Man and the original Spider-Man, they were so close to getting our Peter Parker, but they were just off in different ways, and we won't talk about Spider-Man 3 because I'm not sure who that was. But Alex, if it wasn't going to be Peter Parker, is Miles Morales your only choice? Or
I think that's the next logical choice you'd have to make. Like, in my mind, you have to bring back Peter Parker and give him the Spider-Man story he needs. I think the best one we've gotten so far was Spider-Man 2 from the Sam Raimi versions. I still think that's one of the best comic book movie adaptations to date. But it did have its shortcomings. We won't get into those right now. But there were a few. Ideally, I'd like to see Spider-Man, like Peter Parker's story arc, closed out, and hopefully they'd actually kind of follow the Ultimate storyline where Peter Parker essentially dies, and that spurs Miles Morales to really pick up the mantle. It kind of plays on that same Uncle Ben dynamic from Peter Parker's origins, but has enough of a fresh twist on it to where this is a role model now. This is someone that's balanced that superhero life and young person thing. Honestly, I just think that Peter Parker, you've told enough of his story to where trying to expand upon it much more, especially trying to make like another trilogy or another few more sequels off him, people are just going to start to get fatigued with the character.
Enthusiasts, what do you think? If it's not going to be Peter Parker, do you like Miles Morales, or do you think it should be like maybe a Spider-Woman or a Venom or somebody like that to join the MCU?
Miles seems like the natural choice. I'd be open to seeing spin-offs with Spider-Woman or like a Venom film or something like that. But I think Miles is probably the way to go.
Yeah, I really like Miles too, and I don't know what the deal is that they made, but I think like a Spider-Woman would fit perfectly in like the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. TV show that could fit into the Inhumans and all that kind of stuff with the Kree and all that. I think that'd be exciting to see because I don't know if they just got Spider-Man or they got the entire. Do you guys know?
From what I've read, they've only got the rights to Spider-Man. Sony still has in production, or at least pre-production, their Venom movie and a possible female-driven Spider-Cast movie.
Right. Okay. So let's talk about diversity in movies, which is why it's not why a lot of people want to see Miles Morales, but it is definitely a deciding factor on why people want to see Miles Morales. If they do go to Miles Morales, who is ethnic, non-Caucasian, he's African American and Hispanic, right?
Yeah.
So, enthusiasts, do you think diversity is playing a big role into the opinions and strong beliefs that it should be Miles Morales, or is it Peter Parker fatigue?
It could be a bit of both. The cynical side of me will just say, obviously there was a lot of racist stuff come out in the Sony hacks, and I could see them definitely going that direction just to distance themselves from that, but we need the diversity in films. They could make Peter Parker black. I don't have a problem with that. But, Miles solves that problem and kind of avoids the whole Parker fatigue thing, so it would be kind of win-win.
What about you, Alex? Do you agree with enthusiasts that Sony might need to make up for some of the racist emails that were found? And do you think the strong beliefs of needing diversity in movies is what's spearheading Miles Morales, or is it Parker fatigue?
From a business standpoint, I can definitely see why Sony would want to distance themselves, and I believe the person that's broken this story a few times, he's come out and said that Sony is actively considering. I forgot. I think his name was Jeff something. But he was saying like, yeah, there we go. in an interview or something, he was saying like he's 90% sure this is motivated because of a lot of those somewhat racist email leaks. So I come from it where I'm tired, or I'm not tired, but I would like to for us to explore more than just Peter Parker. I'd still like for him to play a part, but if you're getting the character Spider-Man, there's a lot more that goes along with it than just one person. And I feel like Marvel's the right studio, the right group of people that can really explore and bring that, kind of full circle.
Do you think that doing, like Enthusiast said, just maybe even like a black Peter Parker, would you be okay with that? Or if you're going to do that change of ethnicity, do you just make it like Miles Morales or somebody else? For me, I don't think race has too much to play into Peter Parker's story. I don't think that like makes a difference on the decisions he made and who he is. So I wouldn't mind seeing a different ethnic, even Peter Parker. Would that be weird to you, Alex, or would you be cool with that?
I don't have a problem with it, but part of me says, well, if you want to go that route, like what would be the focus, or why would you want to change Peter Parker in that way? What's the motivation behind that? Other than maybe you just have a phenomenal actor and you want him to play the part of Peter Parker.
Yeah,
but,
everyone wants Glover to be Peter Parker or Miles Morales, right?
Yeah.
They just love
Glover's,
that guy.
At this time, he's 31 years old. He definitely doesn't look like he could. I don't know. I think he still
looks 18, but
he does. But I think we could do better. I think there are more people that could probably do that. And I mean, he's a very talented rapper. He was Grammy nominated his first time out. That's amazing. I don't know if he'd want to necessarily come back to this. But who am I kidding? Who wouldn't want to play Spider-Man? But
yeah.
But like, if you want to bring in ethnicity into the equation, like why not go for Miles Morales? That allows you to kind of play into a whole different a different background that Miles Morales had. If you have read anything about through the Ultimate storyline, you find out that race did have a lot to play with Miles Morales, and if you wanted to really, I guess, take full advantage of that, you would go that route. You would basically make it a whole new character.
Yeah, do you think Miles Morales would be as effective if there wasn't a Peter Parker Spider-Man before him? Enthusiasts? What do you think?
Well, I think they tend to do better to some degree by sticking closer to the comics, and I think to make Spider-Man a legacy hero is a really cool thing. So
totally,
I'd be happy if they kind of kept Peter in the equation.
Yeah, I'd be fine if even he was introduced in the cinematic universe with Peter Parker already dead, and there's a story on. But then you get into like continuity problems where they were in New York, and why didn't Spider-Man show up? And there's that whole problem. But
well, I think the way they're gonna tackle that is like, and Spider-Man, even through most of the his cinematic or his comic book universe, was really the younger underdog hero, where everyone else was a well-established adult male. Peter Parker has always been that younger kind of punk kid superhero. So they can definitely touch on that. I wouldn't mind seeing him, like, and it sounds a little morbid, seeing him die, just a quick death scene possibly in the Civil War. Like, here's a hero that sacrificed himself for us, and what does that do to one that solves a huge problem that Marvel has in terms of all their heroes seem really invulnerable. So if they were to kill one and bring in a new person to kind of hold that mantle, be that legacy, that would be really cool.
Okay. I do have a question about Black Panther. Now, Black Panther, a lot of people were excited because he was going to be, first off, a black superhero in a huge movie, and he was going to play a very key role in the Civil War. He was basically going to play Spider-Man's role in the story. I'm kind of bummed out that maybe Black Panther will now be pushed not to the side, but his impact might not be as large. Do you guys have that same feeling of uncomfortability that Black Panther's not going to be a huge driving force anymore in the story? At least from what we know, that it'll go back to Spider-Man playing the big part in Civil War. Enthusiasts?
I hadn't heard that, so this kind of news to me. Yeah, I can definitely see where you're coming from in that respect, but
And they haven't said that. They haven't said that Black Panther will not play that role. It's just I'm assuming. Well, they said that Black Panther was gonna play Spider-Man's role in Civil War, so I'm just assuming if Spider-Man comes back, he'll be taken off that. That's all I was saying.
Yeah. I think worst case scenario, we get Spider-Man in there, kind of like most people want, and Black Panther, I'm sure, will have a very good first solo outing. So I don't think it'll hurt him too much.
Okay, what do you think, Alex?
If that was their plan, then they're definitely going to change Black Panther's role. But they still have an opportunity to make Black Panther the international symbol. It doesn't necessarily have to be about his race, but Marvel has done a whole lot to really focus on what's happening in New York and maybe a few other places outside, but it's always been New York focused. So with Black Panther, you get an international kind of thing going, which I'm hoping they'll leverage that, make it a global scale.
Yeah. Okay. Do you guys have any other things you want to touch on for Spidey joining the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Enthusiast? Anything else?
Not really. It's just really exciting. I'm sure they'll do a good job.
Yeah, it's damn exciting. Alex, you have anything else you want to talk about?
Hopefully this paves the way for maybe a little more collaboration. Maybe we get some X-Men in there someday.
I actually enjoy X-Men being separate. I don't know. I know everyone probably has their opinions, but I like them kind of being on their own. They have their own full universe. I don't think they need to be involved. But that's a whole nother nerd chat. We can't even get into this right now. Yeah. All right. So yeah, that's a full conversation. I wanted to remind everybody that is watching live. We do have some viewers. If you want to leave questions for us, go ahead and drop those in either on YouTube, Google+. You can ask me questions to my Twitter, which is right here, down here, Savelli NerdSwag. I'll check those out. Or comments. I will read them live while we're streaming. So go ahead and do that. That's fun stuff. The next thing we want to talk about is the picture of Aquaman, Jason Momoa as Aquaman being released. Unite the Seven. Initial thoughts, enthusiasts. Did you like the costume? I know it's still early, but what'd you think?
I did. I guess my first thought was it looked exactly like what I thought it would look like. I really didn't see them going for more clean-cut Aquaman. So I kind of expected them to go the more grizzled Peter David 90s Aquaman. I guess with both hands. So I'm more or less happy with it. I think it looks good.
Nice. Alex, what'd you think? Yeah, you saw Jason Momoa. Yeah, I mean, they got him because he was kind of already, he always plays those roles. Like Khal Drogo in Game of Thrones. I was like, they're just going to take that guy and put a different outfit on him. Because put
him underwater.
Put him under, put Khal Drogo underwater, we got Aquaman. Like a lot of the tattoos are Jason Momoa's tattoos. Those aren't even, put on him. So, Alex, what were your first thoughts?
At first, it was incredibly intimidating. He's a very imposing figure, and I'm all for it. I like the way DC's kind of just reinventing or kind of taking a different approach than what people would expect. And you know what? More on him. That's great. I like it. Jason Momoa looks like I would envision Aquaman to look like. Yeah,
he looks like a real-world Aquaman for sure. A lot of people were complaining. Sorry, I got cough drops in. I'm really not feeling good, guys. It switched back, and I saw a cough drop. This is live TV. This is live broadcasting. I was excited when I saw it. A lot of people are complaining that it's not bright enough, or come on, guys. We know that DC is going a little more, not grayscale, but a little more muted. A lot of the costumes aren't bright and shiny like they are in Marvel. I like it. They're going more stylized. And I could dig it. Does this make you more excited to see Aquaman, enthusiast?
I don't know, because like I said, I more or less expected it to look like this.
Yeah.
I'm not expecting him to have too big of a role in Batman v Superman.
Okay.
At least as far as I think we know, it's going to be more of a glorified cameo kind of a thing. I'm really curious to see how they do the solo movie. Whenever they get around to that. I think that's several years from now.
That's 17 or 18, I think.
Yeah, a lot of long-term plans all these studios have. But I'm hoping it'll be good. I was not a fan of Man of Steel, so I'm still kind of antsy about how things are going to go. But they've got, I think Snyder's a really good stylistic director, and Chris Terrio knows how to write a script. So I'm confident the next film will be good.
Did you not like Man of Steel because of the writing and just because it wasn't really, or not did I say Spider-Man, Superman? Is it because of the writing, or is it because you're not really? Do you connect a lot with Superman? Like as
I'm a
as
huge Superman fan. That was my problem, was the writing, and I didn't really feel like they understood the character. And there are a lot of just thematic things in the film where it feels like they say one thing, and then what we actually see in the film is saying the opposite. So I had a lot of problems with it.
Yeah. I just think if there was terraforming with water, Aquaman would show up. But Alex, let's go to you. Are you more excited now because you've seen this picture?
Yeah,
Aquaman?
I'm definitely a little more enticed to see it. I can honestly say I really didn't have much of an interest in what was going on with Aquaman.
Yeah.
And now this is I'm not excited in a good way. I don't think it's going to be amazing, but it definitely has my curiosity. I'm interested to see more. I want to see a trailer. I want to see a little bit more, but so far I like the style that they're taking.
Where is the trailer, the teaser? Where's the Superman v Batman trailer? It was supposed to be released on the Super Bowl. What's going on? Does anybody know?
If you know,
it's coming.
Yeah, it's coming.
The movie's still like a year away, so
yeah,
we've got time.
Yeah, I think it's just the one that already leaked online, so I guess I've already seen it, but still, I want to see it in full resolution, that's all. Batman looked amazing. I'm so excited for, oh man, super pumped. All right, anything else? I mean, there's not much to talk about here. It's just an image, but he does look really cool, and I would love to hear what you, like, viewers have to say about Aquaman's new costume. We'll say new, in air quotes. His first costume, I guess. Do you like it or not? Yeah. Anything else, guys, for Aquaman?
I guess we... Go ahead, Alex.
I just wanted curious as to what the uniting the seven seas, or the 7 members of the Justice League.
If he only rules the seas, he's got a problem.
There's a lot. Hey, underwater is like the majority of the planet, so there's that.
I know. They're not even all connected. How are you gonna make that happen? Anyway, so I think it's got to be the 7 heroes. I'm assuming we get a Unite the 7 like framed photo like this with every single hero. What do you think, enthusiasts?
I think you're probably right. What the timetable is for releasing those, I don't know. Like I mentioned, it's a year till the film, so if they're doing it that way, they'd have to be pretty spaced out.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. But, if it was Unite the 7, like the Seas, that sounds pretty badass. I mean, I'm down for that too. I don't think people would. I don't know. We'll see. It's so hard to speculate about something so far in advance, but that's what we love to do, which is why they release stuff early like that. Which is becoming a problem, because now we see too much too early, and yeah, that's another nerd chat as well. Here we go. I'll get off a soapbox real quick. Okay. All right, we have anything else we want to discuss? Alex, you good?
I'm good.
All right. Next thing we're going to talk about some science. But before we do that, I wanted to remind everybody to follow everybody on the panel on Twitter. I'm at Savelli NerdSwag. Enthusiast is at Hero Enthusiast. Alex, what's your handle again?
The King Reyes 34.
The
King
Reyes 34. Okay.
Yep.
Follow us all on Twitter. Hit us up. Ask us questions. Make sure to follow Superhero Enthusiasts YouTube channel. Go subscribe. His link's down below in the description. You guys know. Leave questions, and we will answer them at the end of the show. If you have any comments, go ahead and leave those. I will read those. It looks like we have one. It comes from Wade W. He says, I am loving this so far, guys. Good job. I got to get in on one of these with you, Steven. Yeah, Wade, why not? Yeah, let's do it. Sure. You're all welcome. Come on, come in. Come all. All right, the next thing we're going to talk about is science. And we're going to talk about NASA's plans for Europa. Now, Europa is a moon of Jupiter. People are very excited about it now. We've been excited about it for a few years, but it is hitting mainstream news about Europa. for a lot of cool reasons. First reason, we think there's water there. Now, we know there's an ice layer. We saw like a plume, which we thought was a water plume. We're not exactly sure, but we are confident there's water under the ice. And NASA wants to go there. They want to do flyby missions, and they want to shoot something to the crest of Europa and do some testing. First off, how excited are you that people are starting to care about space? We'll go to you, enthusiasts.
I'm really excited. I'm a huge Trekkie, so space travel stuff in real life is really exciting because we're, as far as the Star Trek timeline goes, we're way behind. Europa is potentially a great candidate for life in the solar system because of water. So I really hope they find something, and it's great that they are going to be sending something. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, everywhere we know water to be, there is life. There is no place on Earth where there's water and no life. But who knows? Alex, just first impressions of people like kind of getting excited about space again and going to a planet that could have water. Or I mean, not a planet, a moon. So the difference between a moon and a planet is a moon orbits a planet orbits the sun. We don't know who's watching. It's okay, Alex.
No, I think it's fantastic. The more people that can get excited about this, we have. I look at it from the perspective of the space race in the '60s. How much great stuff came from that? How much that changed our society? And we have the next step of that with exploring Mars and exploring this Europa, a moon of Jupiter. It's phenomenal. If we can find life as we know it, like not necessarily intelligent life, but microbial life, something living in the water, that's huge for us. That means that, within our solar system, there's the possibility that we're not necessarily alone in being just organisms, but that kind of cements that there is life somewhere else outside of where we are. And the sooner we can start exploring that, that's amazing for us as human beings.
Yeah, so if we are to assume that there is an ice layer with water underneath, they do say that Europa would have more water, which is a smaller moon than our Earth planet, of course. They say that there'd be more water on Europa than on the entire surface of the Earth. How unbelievable would that be? That's crazy. What do you think about that, enthusiasts? More water on a moon in our solar system than Earth?
Aquaman would have bigger responsibility.
He would have. They could like ship him his own planet. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, just melt it, right?
Yeah, just melt it. Exactly. Send Firestorm and Aquaman. Good.
There's a team up.
Is that all you had to say about water on another that you got?
I mean, we know from here on Earth at the bottom of the ocean there's all sorts of extremophile bacteria that can live in very insane conditions, so it's quite possible that there could be something there.
Yeah, like hundreds of degrees Fahrenheit. We know there's things living there.
Mm-hmm.
Or Celsius. I'm not prejudiced. It's okay. We know Enthusiast lives in Canada, so yeah, fun stuff. Alex, what do you think? More water on a moon in our solar system than our planet?
That's cool. I mean, I would imagine a moon of Jupiter is probably a lot bigger than what we would normally think of a moon as. Jupiter's a lot bigger, so you would think like it would attract bigger things. To my understanding, that's how gravity works.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. I mean, the amount of information we can get from exploring something like that. We as you guys were talking about earlier, under our ocean, like things live where we thought nothing could ever live. We've learned that things can live without sunlight, essentially. So the fact that we could possibly find life somewhere else this close to us is just incredibly exciting.
One thing I do want to touch on that's not NASA is Europe. Europe has a program of going to Europa as well. It's called the Jupiter Icy Moon Explorer. They're terrible with names. They need to talk to NASA. They need to hook up with NASA about naming their stuff. But yeah, Europe has a program to go to Europa as well, and they're set to launch in 2020. This is where I start to get really frustrated because here's what I don't understand. Why are we not doing this together as one unit? We are. Anybody? Any thoughts? Enthusiasts?
Yeah, that would be nice.
Wouldn't that be
Unfortunately, it's kind of a competition thing. I mean, I think if it's between nations, it'll most likely be more friendly competition. I'm a little bit wary of the private sector getting into these kinds of things, but yeah, it would be great if we could all just get along.
Yeah, I mean, we could probably accomplish it a lot faster. We'd have a lot more money, a lot more resources, but you could also become more passive, right? You might not be as aggressive because you're not trying to beat out somebody else. Alex, what do you think? We have multiple programs trying to go to Europa. They could all do it half-ass, really. Do you think, how do you feel about us not working together?
You know what? It kind of sucks because you think like, hey, if we were all pull our resources together, we could, probably come up with something way better. But at the same time, I feel it's what happened in the original space races. You have someone breathing down your neck. You have that sense of competition. It's gonna push you to solve problems differently. You're gonna come up with new solutions to everything, and you're going to develop new technology. You're going to find those different ways and make it work for however you can. And I think the more people we have trying to figure this out, the better.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely two schools of thought of competition versus teamwork and how that goes. NASA is getting a lot more money approved, a lot more approved funds towards it. So this is a big change because in recent years, science has kind of taken a sidestep to everything else, including military. Well, that's a whole different channel. That's not even NerdSwag. We'll stay off that. But not just are people getting excited about science, but it's starting to get funding. Is there anything else science, or not science, space related that you'd like to see get funded, enthusiast?
I guess just more Mars stuff, because I think the sooner we're not all on the same rock in space, the chances of humans surviving long term, drastically increases.
Yeah, for sure. What about you, Alex? There's Europa, there's Mars, there's some cool stuff out there.
Yeah, there's tons of cool stuff. One thing that I would urge anybody watching this, go learn more about what's happening in what your government is doing in terms of what they're doing for space travel. Because really the last thing we want, and enthusiasts, you kind of touched on this earlier, was the last thing you want is the private sector going there and essentially claiming everything before the rest of humanity has the opportunity to. If anyone's ever read the book Fight Club, Chuck Palahniuk brings up a really interesting point. Like, space travel essentially becomes, fodder for, or basically only available to those that have the funds, and that really robs us, the entire human race, of something much greater than ourselves. So, and the fact that it's that this is becoming more of a public issue, that more people are talking about it, and a lot more people are getting excited about this, is phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, have you guys seen the movie Avatar? Come on, we can't have the private sector taking up perfectly fine worlds. No, you're totally right. Do you want to expand on that, enthusiast, about the problem that it would create if the private sector was to maybe get to certain parts of space before not humanity, but governments and public knowledge? Because they could find stuff, they could hide the resources they found. I mean, we get into some trouble. You want to expand on it?
Sure. I guess the obvious thing is governments are accountable to their people. Companies are not.
Yep.
So, I mean, and that's been the whole problem throughout history is, imperialism has been driven by corporate interests. It's companies shaping foreign policies and stuff. And if I was to go be a Mars colonist, I'd rather do it as part of some sort of, joint thing where we all agreed on some sort of rules or something, and not as the vassal of, some eccentric billionaire like Elon Musk, who's, been called real life Tony Stark, and that's kind of frightening because we know how Tony Stark is sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. What about you, Alex? You want to expand on that a little? I know you touched on it.
No, it's really just more agreement of what Enthusiast is saying. Yeah, as much as I support the private sector and believe if you have the means, go out and do it, but this is really an issue that affects all of humanity. When you start exploring things that are outside of our basics, out of really essentially everyone's reach. What are the first steps? What happens when their valuable resources are found? Are those left up to the private sector that they serve their shareholders, not the public? What does that do for the rest of us?
Yeah.
And it's some of those things are maybe one day we do find life. Who do you want to find that life first? International ambassadors or someone that's looking for a profit? You start to get into really gray, murky waters there.
Yeah, I mean, and it is starting, right? We have private companies that are trying to do, pay to go to space. I mean, it's already starting to happen. So it is scary. I will put down below in the description. It's not in there now live, but I will put a link to this NASA Europa plan, what they proposed, and also the European plan. Because I think, Alex, you touched on it perfectly. We're trying to talk to a broad audience right now. We're not going too deep into all of this. We just kind of want to touch on it, enlighten people if they haven't heard about it, and definitely go learn about it. This is important to you, not just to people who care about it. It's important to everybody. You guys have anything else to say on this, enthusiast?
No, I think we covered a lot.
Yeah, Alex.
Hopefully we can catch up the Star Trek timeline. Interstellar travel would be amazing.
Hey, you don't know what the government's hiding from us. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's also another channel. This isn't Alex Jones. We're not Alex Jones, so okay. Let's we do have another comment from Wade, so I'll read that. But anybody else watching, if you have a question, even if it's not related to anything we're talking about, go ahead and leave it here on YouTube or on Google Plus, and we'll answer it before the end of the show. But Wade said he's talking about Aquaman. To be honest, I hope he shreds up a little more. Don't get me wrong, he's huge. He's very muscular, but I feel that any Aquaman they portray needs to be shredded. I mean, he does swim for a living. In my opinion, he should be the most in-shape hero DC has. Do you guys agree with that?
I don't know how much more shredded you can get.
I know. Jason Momoa is a huge dude. Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe if he got all veiny and stuff like Hugh Jackman was in Days of Future Past, like, because you could see.
Hugh Jackman.
Swear you could see the
explode.
muscle fibers through his skin. It was insane. But
yeah, he was. Yeah.
But I mean, no, like Jason Momoa, go see him in real person. I can assure you, you won't question any of his muscles.
I think we all agree, enthusiasts. Jason Momoa is big enough, right?
Yeah, I'd say so.
I get what Wade is saying though. Most swimmers are very not bigger, but they're more
very
lean.
Yeah.
They're very lean and shredded. So I think I'm getting his point on that. That his muscles need to pop a little more, maybe not get bigger. I got you, Wade. We're in this together. All right, let's go on to our next topic. We're probably about 5 minutes, 10 minutes behind, but talking about Europa was actually really fun, guys. All right, our next thing is it's not really let's say it's technology. Let's talk about technology. We're going to talk about Would You Rather. It's a game people play, but we're going to make it a little more nerdy. We're going to do Would You Rather have self-driven electric vehicles or high-speed magnetic bullet trains? If we can make this mode of transportation happen without spending money, we could just make it happen like we're playing SimCity or something. Which one do you think would be more efficient to human needs? We'll start with enthusiasts on this. Bullet train or self-driven cars?
I'd have to give it to self-driven cars just because I think they're far more versatile. I mean, I'd love to have both, but, essentially we could eliminate human error in driving, which means, potentially tens of thousands of people every year won't die. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah. What about you, Alex? Self-driven cars or bullet train?
I'd have to go with bullet train.
Uh-oh, here we go. Okay. I didn't plan this. I didn't plan it, I swear.
No. I completely see where the self-driven car has a lot of advantages. The one thing I think about is like everyone's car immediately self-driven, and what's the upkeep on that? Because I know a lot of less than smart people that like to work on their cars, and if they're working on their self-driven car, that to me just that scares the crap out of me. You know, if some 16-year-old gets his first self-driven car, works on it, and something goes wrong. But plus I really like driving. That's me. But yeah, no,
All
bullet
right.
train.
Is there a way I can stay neutral on this? How about this? How about I'm going to propose self-driven electric cars that could be bullet trains. Now, don't laugh. Just because you guys are on two sides, I can make this work. So self-driven cars that could somehow link up to each other and be grabbed onto a track of a bullet train. So they drive, they pull up next to it, and just link up to a bullet train and take off. What do you guys think about that idea?
I think that's the solution.
Yeah.
Boom.
Perfect.
There we go. I do want to talk about this for probably just a few more minutes. I actually side with bullet trains. Have you guys heard of the like I forget what it's called, but it's like a vacuum. It's like a vacuum train. Have you guys heard about this idea?
Yeah.
Where you could go from Los Angeles to like San Francisco, and for you guys that don't know, that's probably like an 8 to 9 hour drive in 15 to 20 minutes. That would change the whole world. That you could live in, let's say, New York and work in Tampa Bay, Florida. You just go there every day. It's a 30-minute ride. What do you guys think about that? Have you guys heard about that, enthusiast?
Yeah, I have. I mean, the vacuum thing is just you take air out of the equation, so there's no friction, so the train can go even faster. It definitely would change things. I mean, we know in North America in the 50s when they built all the huge highways and all those highway systems, it definitely boosted the economy a lot because people could trade with people who were farther away, and it was easier to get goods from point A to point B. So there'd definitely be a lot of benefits.
Yeah, I mean, one benefit is I think pollution, and not just because people aren't driving cars. It's that like people don't have to live in tiny little cities. Like there's no need for a New York anymore. You could live in anywhere really in any country that you live in and be to a big location that you work at any time. Like I think population, not control, but population would change geographically of where people lived. They wouldn't necessarily always be on the beaches. Yeah, there's some gains to that. Alex, you were saying with bullet trains. Now bullet trains, you can't spaghetti them going every direction, or you could. Would you just set up like main bullet train highways? I'll use highways, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Essentially, like what I would like is something where you have a bullet train linking major metropolitan areas. So like you were saying, Los Angeles, San Francisco, that'd be cool. And then possibly like some smaller trolleys that go from the major metropolitan area out to the suburbs. So you can have people commuting from a suburb of Los Angeles, take a 20-30 minute trolley into the bullet train station, load up on that, and another 20-30 minutes to get to San Francisco. You essentially allow people to work from anywhere. And something like that. That would just linking those major pockets of dense population would be huge for us.
Yeah, and I think enthusiasts, you would totally agree that's awesome because it's not like we're not saying both are awesome ideas, but I think you're siding on like we'll save lives. There will be less stress in the world because people won't be furious driving. I
think it will eliminate the need to own a car to some degree too, because I know there's all sorts of companies working on, you can press your phone and you can have a driverless taxi come pick you up and you don't need to worry about it.
I also saw like Enterprise has a program now where you could just rent a car that's already parked downtown. You walk up, you rent it on your phone, you drive it and leave it somewhere, and you only rent it for like 15 minutes.
It's just a as needed kind of a thing.
Yeah, so I think you're right. You could totally get away from that kind of thing, and also like no emissions, right? Because you would assume they would all be electric cars.
Yeah.
Does it scare you at all if you were to get in a car and you just close your eyes and a computer is taking you to where you need? Does that scare you?
Not really.
Not really, because you would see cars like coming in within like inches of each other. There'd be no need for like stoplights and intersections. Like it would change. It would be unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Alex, you have anything else to say about this?
Yeah, no, that'd be fantastic. It definitely eliminates, traffic. Like, I would just love to be able to sit in my car and not have to worry about traffic, hitting the gas, the brake every 10 seconds. Like, that would be phenomenal.
Yeah. Anything else, enthusiasts? This was meant to be kind of a fun discussion, but we're not going really too deep into this. But anything else on electric cars or bullet trains?
Both would be great.
Both would be great. No one's really doing it right yet in the world, but some places use bullet trains. Yeah. All right, let's move on to our last segment of our Nerd Chat today, and that is our Rewind Reboot, where we take 3 franchises from the past, and we talk about if we were to reboot them with today's technology, which one we'd pick. And today, we're going to actually do 3 different movies. We're going to do Stargate, Spawn, and Highlander. We're going to each pick one that we'd reboot today with today's technology. We might talk about who we want to direct or be in it, but we don't have to. But before we get into that, oh no, we're good. Okay, we're going to go with you, enthusiast. Stargate, Spawn, or Highlander. Which one would you reboot today?
I would reboot Spawn. A good friend of mine, Captain Logan from Geekvolution, just not too long ago wrapped up his big project called Spawn Year, where every day for a whole year he reviewed something Spawn related.
It was crazy. I watched a lot of it.
It's a franchise that has enormous potential, but has never lived up to that potential, so I'd like to see it do so.
All right, you'd pick Spawn. Now, Jason Momoa was in Stargate. Was he Stargate? Which one was he in?
Atlantis, appropriately enough.
Yeah, he was in Stargate Atlantis. That's right. That was what was funny about it. So he will come beat you up if you don't pick him, Alex. Don't pick Stargate. No, just kidding. Which one would you pick, Alex?
Gotta side with enthusiasts on the Spawn. I enjoyed the movie when I was a kid, but it's a terrible movie looking back. But I mean, he's a really cool character, and they could do amazing things with him right now. I think we need like a hard hitting, like just really brutal kind of, I guess, anti-hero, superhero kind of guy.
I knew I made a mistake putting Spawn in this list. I knew. The second I put it in the list, I was like, oh no, here we go. I would pick Spawn as well. I was in love with Spawn as a kid. Similar to you, Alex, when I saw the movie, I thought it was the best thing ever made. I was like, oh, this guy is badass. Like, I love Spawn. This guy is so cool right now. And I actually bought the comics when they came out. Like, I bought Spawn #1 the week it was released. So I was into Spawn. Well, my dad bought it, but well, we need to talk about that. But so I read him as a young kid, and I was super into him. I stopped at like, very, very early, like in the 10s, because it got really gory and bad, and my dad didn't let me read it. But anyways, I'd pick Spawn 2. I think I would like a rated R Spawn. You guys agree it would have to be rated R?
Yeah, I don't know any other way to do it properly.
Yeah, even just the themes, right? Even if it wasn't gory and crude, just the themes would be rated R, I think.
Definitely. It definitely that mature kind of undertones to it.
All right. Well, since I made a horrible list, if you were to pick
Shout
one
out
of
to
the
Highlander.
Okay, yeah. If you were to pick
Highlander,
Stargate or Highlander, yeah, this is terrible. My bad, guys. Okay, Stargate or Highlander, enthusiast. Alex already picked Highlander. What do you got?
I'm gonna give it to Highlander just because the whole.
No.
I feel like the whole Ancient Aliens thing is kind of played out.
Yeah. Okay, I'll pick Stargate because I hate my list. So. I really was actually more into Stargate, both the movie and the TV show. I watched them with my pops a lot. I never really got too much into Highlander. I always thought it was corny, and I just like kind of laughed when I watched it. But you're right. If it was to be redone the right way now with current technology, I think it would be a cooler movie than Stargate. But I'm picking Stargate anyways. Alex, you wanted to shout out Highlander.
Just if we took Spawn out of the equation, Highlander would have to be that choice. Like they're still pretty cool movies. Like rainy day, I'll watch Highlander and enjoy the crap out of them. But
Yeah.
no, they could definitely be interpreted for a modern audience really well. I think they would do. I mean, you got high fantasy has never been better done than right now, and there's a lot of high fantasy elements to Highlander, which I think could translate really well.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so I got Spawn, Stargate, then Highlander. You guys are both Spawn, Highlander, Stargate. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All right, cool. Well, I think this was our last topic of the night, guys. Unless any of you want to say anything else about the previous topics we've talked about, or if you have anything else that you want to talk about, because you just like read it 20 minutes ago, you're like, I want to talk about this right now. Yes, enthusiast, you have anything?
I don't have anything off the top of my head, no.
Okay, cool. Alex, you have anything?
Actually, really interesting article I read from Polygon today, chronicling the history of Xbox Live. If you guys have ever been interested in video game history, it's a phenomenal read. Go check it out. How that thing built up from basically a few ragtag engineers to a huge service for one of the biggest companies around. Definitely recommend go checking that out.
Yeah, and on Netflix, there's a new documentary called Video Games, I think.
Yeah.
It's a really cool documentary about the history of video games. I watched it. I loved it. Could definitely go check it out if you have Netflix. Alex, you and I will probably do a video game related video here in the next month. Enthusiast, you didn't have anything else? Alex, you good? Now you good?
Good.
All right. We do have one more question. I think it's more related to me, so I'll try to answer this real quick. It's from, I'm not sure if it's Josu Rodriguez or Josu Rodriguez, but the question is, will you ever do any comic book movie reviews or just regular movie reviews? So currently Alyssa and I usually do just any movie that comes out. It's a blockbuster. We saw Jupiter Ascending 2 weeks ago, and it may have been one of the worst things I've ever seen. We did review Guardians of the Galaxy together, which is actually my most viewed video on my our YouTube channel. But yes, we will be doing all comic book reviews for movies that come out here in the future. Cool. I think that's it, guys. You can find me at, where am I at here? Savelli NerdSwag on Twitter, #NerdSwag on Facebook. We just hit 11,000 followers, I think. And we're doing some giveaways for that. You can check out our t-shirts. They're on sale right now. You can find them down below in the description. And Superhero Enthusiast, make sure you guys go subscribe to his channel. He's got some awesome content. Great dude. Make sure to go support. Find him on Twitter, Hero Enthusiast. Anything you want to say to everybody, Enthusiast?
Thanks for watching, and thanks for having me back. A lot of fun.
Yeah, I love having you on, man. You're welcome anytime. And Alex, this guy, he does awesome video game write-ups for us. He also covers superhero news for us, and he's just a great dude. What was it? The King Reyes 34?
Yep. That's my Twitter handle. Find me. It's also my gamer tag, so if you're around PSN, Xbox Live, hit me up.
All right, cool. And my gamer tag's Savelli NerdSwag. Imagine that. That is it for the show, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you're watching this post live, you can still leave questions, and I'll, of course, answer every single one that I find. And until next time, see you guys later.